All right. Happy Saturday, July 3rd, weekend of July 4th. We figured we'd go live today and bring on Reed Coverdale. Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we bring Reed on, Mike?
I know, because Reed, my boy, the lover of liberty, the base truck driver, the 1920s wrestler, Reed Coverdale. Good to see you, Reed. What's going on, man? Happy 4th of July.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I'm doing good. It's kind of hot out here, but it sounds like it's kind of hot everywhere. So it is what it is. But I'm doing well. So,
what state are you in? You're in Utah or
Utah? Yep.
Utah. Okay. So that's like not far from the Mormon cult, right? The LDS cult. Like, where are you?
I'm in the heart of it. I live in like Lehigh, which is a suburb of Salt Lake City. I actually had two of them show up at my door 3 weeks ago. And I was nice to them. So,
we're always nice to the LDS boys. There's a couple that are here in Peterborough that come around, and they got very nice pressed white dress shirts. They're very respectable. They're 20-year-old virginal
brainwashed idiots, but they're I'm nice to them. So.
Yeah, they literally don't know anything, Reed.
No, it's so funny.
You're looking at two human beings. You're like, you think about where you were at when you were 20. Or however old they are, and you're like, wow, I didn't know anything. These guys fucking don't know anything.
They might as well be 11 on the playground for the first time,
Dude, there was this one time in Denver when I lived there. I was with my uncle, and we were changing the radiator in my pickup truck, and my uncle and I are just covered in grease. And these two guys, 20 years old or whatever, in these white pressed shirts showed up, and they're like, hey, is there anything we can do to help you guys? And man, we should have taken them up on that because obviously they're expecting you to say no. Oh, no, it's fine. But we should have been like, oh, yeah, if you got any friends in the area too, who could pitch in and help, that would be great. But we didn't do that. So.
We want to get some grease on your shirt.
Oh, if you guys were sadistic neocons, you would have had them fucking,
dude.
Yeah, those shirts. If it was Lindsey Graham, I'd have him take them shirts off.
Yeah.
I got a couple of pairs of clippers. I'm gonna put on those nipples. we gonna talk about the defense budget. It ain't gonna be 900 million. It's gonna be a trillion. Trillion, capital T. Capital T for torture, which also makes me lactate.
He lactates, dude. Torture makes him lactate. I guess that's a kink. That's one of Lindsay's kinks. He really enjoys torturing like brown people specifically. There's just something about the way the sun catches their body glistening with the sweat and the sand, and it just gets him there, man. It just gets him there.
That explains a lot. It's too bad. I mean, see, Donald Rumsfeld is like the epitome of evil, but he was kind of harmless at this point. Like I would have rather seen Lindsay just croak because then Donald Rumsfeld is just kind of an irrelevant, old, useless person at this point. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Rumsfeld too, and he's on his way to hell. I mean, I don't believe in heaven or hell, but
we do just for Donald, just for him. So
whenever a neocon dies, I become evangelical.
Yeah. Well, whenever a neocon dies, the devil gets their wings. The devil gets their wings. But he's certainly on his way to hell on the Rainbow Bridge. And the Atlantic actually, I don't know if you guys read the Atlantic piece that came out. They said, yeah, he's dead, but he was still shitty, and now he's a shitty dead person. So
that's what I said when Rush Limbaugh died. Like everyone was. Oohing and awing over him, even people who hated him, it was ridiculous. And I was like, he's the same guy. He just died. Like, what's the fucking difference? He's still a piece of shit.
Yeah, he was still a mass murdering, sadistic psychopath, fucking big oil, big pharma, big war cunt, And now Reed, he's dead. He's dead. I love that Donald Trump's alive, Mike, and Rumsfeld's dead.
I guess, yeah, there's something to be said for that, I guess.
We got people in Maui watching us.
Oh, wow.
Aloha, Sherwood.
Aloha, Take.
We're in Hawaii. Sherwood, where in Hawaii are you?
Yeah.
What part of Hawaii? Are you surfing? But, so Rumsfeld, that was a big news story. He was certainly one of the boogeymen when I was a teenager. after 9/11 when they had the code orange, code red, code yellow, they would raise a terror alert. They'd have Fox News like it. So now we have the COVID death ticker, the COVID death counter. Back then, 18, 19, 20 years ago, it was the fucking terror alert. And I don't know how many people remember that, but they had that thing going night and day. And Eric and I were out at a restaurant yesterday, and we saw some people that we knew, and they're like, "Oh, it's so great. Nobody's wearing any masks. Things seem to be going back to normal." Eric's like, "Yeah, it'll go back to normal as soon as you guys shut your fucking TV off."
Yeah.
And that's the perception, man. That's it. Once certain media organizations tell certain people that it's okay to engage in that type of behavior, they're going to do it. But otherwise, they won't be critical or think anything otherwise of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's I don't know, man. It's aggravating. It's like the opposite side had the fear-mongering this time. I mean, for the most part, a lot of Republicans and right-wingers kind of took this whole thing in stride, and the left just lost it, and is the complete opposite with terrorism. It was just like pretty much a right-wing fear-mongering thing. And either time, whether it's terrorism they're scaring you with or a disease that kills like less than 1% of the people it infects, you always have to watch and see where the elites end up padding their own pockets and advancing their own agenda while we argue over this stupid shit. That's kind of what they always do. And there's always a lot of money involved, and it's pretty sickening, but it's effective, by all these red herrings and getting everyone terrified and getting them to hate each other instead of them. I mean, but that's what they do all the time. So.
And this is one area, Reed, where like I can speak for myself. You guys can say what you want to say, but like where a ghoul like DeSantis, who's 98% otherwise like a fucking ghoul, was kind of based with kind of keeping Florida as open as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, he's a ghoul, but you're right. I mean, if someone's right on an issue, why? I mean, who cares? Right. If they're right on.
Oh, I mean, I'll come at him about his Zionism and about his ball gagging of Israel every day of the week for a fucking sitting governor of a state in America to have proclamations about Israel and to have all people around you. It's like, fuck you, fuck that shit. But like keeping Florida open and not succumbing to the fear and the cuckoldry, I give DeSantis a lot of credit.
Yeah, I think he's going to run for president because, I mean, all this Israel stuff to me is a hint, like what does it have? I mean, because I didn't really hear much about that before recently. It seems like a hint to everybody like, oh, I stand in the right spot. I'm ready to throw my hat in when I need to. So,
yeah, you see that with Pompeo too, man. And I think Pompeo actually went over there not that long ago. He was over to Jerusalem and he certainly I think Pompeo was probably the guy that cucked Trump in October of 2017 when he wanted to release the Kennedy files. He got a visit. There was a visit paid to Trump, and they ended up not releasing all of them. So that's actually coming up now in October of this year because they gave it a 4-year extension. So it's up to Biden. Biden's gonna give us the transparency from another Democratic president that was killed by a lone assassin. 58 fucking years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be the day.
All right, so she says, met you for the other day with Dawson and jumped to see you again now. Best conversations you have. Thank you.
Man.
Sherwood is a brand of hockey stick. I'm a big hockey player. Ray Bork, one of my favorite hockey players, he was a defenseman. He had Sherwood hockey sticks. So I know it's share and then wood, but I equate it to Sherwood, and I think it's just tremendous, Reed.
See, I would have guessed that it was the Tulsi connection, not the Ryan Dawson connection from Maui, Hawaii. But that's
cool. Well, hey man, there's people all over this fucking planet who were saying some things, Reed, that is resonating with other humans, as you know, and it's for all the haters and like point blank in our live stream when I was fucking super loaded with Ryan, at one point I'm just like, dude, I had a comedy fucking show canceled because of you. and we just laughed. But dude, I'm a First Amendment absolutist. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about you guys, man, but like, dude, America, for all of our faults and all the shit that happens and that we do, when you do some traveling around the world and some people who are from legit repressive totalitarian governments where they're fucking bagmen from the government come and lock them up and beat them over the head with sticks and put them in prison for their speech. We don't take it for granted for 1 second, and that's why we do this show. I mean, that's why we do what we do. So I believe in it, and it's resonating with people, and people are hungry for it, I think, guys.
I'm working on the trailer for the Four Horsemen with Clint, and I'm telling you, that show has, I mean, I think the reason it has so much gravity is because of the free speech aspect. You know, there's a lot of exposition going on too, but I think people love that we just kind of let loose and, you know, go full throttle. And, you know, I mean, Ryan's name on the last one was "fuck Israel with a cactus." You know, like
that's based.
It's sort of autistic, but based too. So,
what was his name on ours, Eric? Rummy Dead?
Rummy Dead.
Oh man, I love it.
Well, the thing is, Reed, we are not triggered by what other people say. Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm just at such a level. So a lot of the umbrage that the people took with having Ryan on our show was that he's a Civil War buff. He's from the South, and he has Confederate flags in his videos, and he's got a Confederate flag. Oh my God, it's reactionary fucking hair on fire bullshit.
Yeah.
And for me, look, I don't own any Confederate flags or imagery. I would never fly one. It's not my bag. But I don't know. With Ryan, it doesn't fucking bother me.
Well, he lectures and teaches about the Civil War, and the Confederate flag is part of that story, whether people like it or not. And I agree. I understand that I'm not insensitive to the fact that is for a lot of people, especially in the African American community, it's regarded as a hate symbol, or it's bad, and of course that exists. And like Eric said, I would never have one. I'd never fly one. I don't support those kind of ideas. But at the same time, if you drive through the South, and I'm sure you have, Reed, as a truck driver and someone who's traveled, there's a lot of people in private properties that have the Confederate flag, and they view it differently. So
yeah, I mean,
whether that is right or wrong, they have a right to have that. So it is out there and it exists. So you could be an adult about it and have a conversation and acknowledge it and talk about the sides and the views that different people and groups have of it, or you could just be a little baby and pretend it doesn't exist and hope that it goes away.
Yeah, and I don't look at it quite as black and white as Ryan does, but I agree with I agree with his perspective that the North was not fighting the South to end slavery. That war was about federal control at the end of the day, and it's a good conversation to have. I mean, because U.S. history is so whitewashed. You know, everything was for a decent cause. We fought World War II because we had to. We had to atomic bomb the Japanese, or the war would have gone longer and more people would have died. You know,
that's a lie. That's a lie.
Oh yeah, that's a lie. And you know, there's a lot. I mean, to think that the same propaganda that we have about the Iraq War, World War II, Vietnam doesn't exist about the Civil War is bullshit. Of course, that was of course it wasn't a just cause that we were fighting, and we try to always paint it as though it were. So I think he's right, and I think he makes a lot of good points. And I like how he ties it into his his suffrage for the Palestinians. Like it's so connected. It's the same thing. Like with his Native American heritage and everything. And then he ties it into the Confederacy too. And I think that's all really interesting. I don't know anyone else who has done that, and it makes a compelling argument. So I don't know, people can get fucked if they don't like it. I don't really care.
I think Reed, Jack Hunter was pretty articulate on your show about the Confederate flag and that imagery, and said he had used it early in his career for what Southern Avenger was his the persona that he created, but he also kind of said what Mike said, and we can't be blind to this, and we can't ignore that whether it's black people, whoever it is in our country, like that,
or
to
ancestors of slaves, they have a view on it.
They're
entitled to have that view.
And we can't just fucking throw that in the garbage and
I don't
just totally discount it.
I don't use it just because I don't want to spend the first 45 minutes of every conversation explaining what it means.
And not only that, Reed, I've never been into flags. Like, look, like
no, I'm not either.
I'm
not into the American flag.
Well, look, I would never go and burn the American flag, but people have the right to do that.
Yeah.
But I probably wouldn't even fly the American flag because I don't believe in that kind of jingoistic. Like, I have to be over the top with my patriotism. There's many ways to show your patriotism, and what patriotism means to me might not be what it means to somebody else. So that's why, for me, freedom of speech is so important, because I don't have to be conscripted or compelled to have an American flag to show that I am an American citizen. I am concerned about issues. I have my own views on patriotism. That's another form of virtue signaling. That's almost virtue signaling from the right. Like, look at me. I got my American flag and my big dick. It's like, well, their American flag was probably made in China. Like, let's start there. And that's another form of virtue signaling, and another form of, like, just trying to put something out there that's really kind of a false narrative in a lot of ways. So I don't get worked up over any flag. Like, I understand a flag is something that identifies a movement, a cause, borders, a country, whatever. But they have people arguing about a flag. Meanwhile, there's people being killed with bombs, like, in real time. And that's what they're not talking about, because they're fucking arguing about a piece of cloth flying in the wind. And that's what the people who are profiteering and making money off of it and the powers that be hope for. They hope that we're going to spend 45 minutes on a flag, and we're not going to talk about the fact that bombs are actually falling on innocent humans.
Yeah, no, I've changed on the flag. I used to be a flagget myself, but now I think God hates flags, so I don't fly. Sorry.
Shirley Phelps Roper over here.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I used to fly an American flag. Used to have an American flag magnet on my pickup truck, but I just don't anymore because and I don't judge people who do. It's fine.
I don't either. No, I support everyone's right to do that.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
I feel like you do. I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know. It's so, like, I mean, this was actually one of the things that bugged me about Tulsi's campaign, was like the obsession over the flag and, saying the Pledge of Allegiance at every event or whatever. Like, to me, that was just weird. Like, and it was fine. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I don't know, the nationalistic obsession that we have with our country. And I feel like it's like a religion, you know what I mean? It's because of how whitewashed it is and how simplistic it is, and where we claim all our how we claim we're, like, so free, and how we've been a beacon of freedom around the world. I mean, it's just all not really true. I mean, there's so much propaganda built into it. So I don't fly it anymore, and people can do what they want, but I don't anymore. So
I mean, the flag at this point should be an amalgamation of all the corporations that own our country.
Yeah, we should have Raytheon, BlackRock,
Boeing, General Electric, fucking Lockheed Martin. Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it sounds like, Reed, you've been kind of doing a George Carlin deep dive lately.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's been longer than lately. It's been, I mean,
you're a Carlin fan.
Oh yeah, I have been since like 2015. Yeah, George Carlin's my man. I love that guy.
When he talks about, Reed, the real, I'm just like, I'm talking about the real owners of this country. We know who he's talking to. He's talking about the corporate fucking entities that run the show, dude. And to me, the flag bullshit, with like sports and the bread and circus and all of that rolled into it, and the culture war of that is just an extension of that to keep all of the plebes and all the ants, shaking up the jar of ants.
Yeah.
And then fight with each other. Red ants and blue ants fight with each other. Christians, believers versus non-believers fight with each other.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, we are continuing to murder brown people 8,000 miles away in the Middle East in the name of freedom and exporting democracy, but it's really for profit and control and expansion of this empire, which we all oppose and we all speak out about. And you're looked at like a fucking freak when you keep saying this. Mike, we've all been repeating the same arguments ad nauseum for so long, and we look at people who were caught up in the reindeer games of the culture wars, and they're fucking clowns. They're useful idiots, is what the Russians call them.
Yeah.
And we're a country of useful idiots.
Yeah. I thought Jack Hunter was really eloquent on this point in my show too, about how the Ron Paul movement was above the culture war or separate from it. It didn't really delve into it. And I don't know, like there's a couple different approaches. You can try to be, I guess, like more like Tulsi and like try to meet people where they are and have like this acceptable presentation and try to bring people in that way. Or you can have the George Carlin strategy, which is to just be blatant and just be shocking. And I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I tend to go more the George Carlin way because that's what got me. It wasn't actually, it wasn't this. I mean, it was a lot of things at once. Like in 2014, when it was after the Ron Paul movement, I kind of missed that. But I was living outside of the house because I'd moved out and I was working full time. And I don't know, I started listening to a lot of different people, and they weren't exactly, being polite. Bill Maher is one of the guys before he got completely cucked. And he's still occasionally okay, but he's gotten worse and worse over the years. But I mean, it was him saying like very vile or very shocking things that kind of made me stop and think, whoa, wait a second. Why do I have this crazy conservative view that I have, or why do I have this religious view that I have? And then that put me on to, different people like Rand Paul and, I don't know, people from the Liberty Movement, people from all sorts of different spaces that I'd never really listened to before. So I don't think there's a right or wrong way, but for me, I tend to go hard in the paint because that's what kind of snapped me out of it. And, I think I've snapped people out of it too. And I know you guys have, and, we're all doing it our own way, whatever works. So
sometimes you get to be a little shocking, because you just it's like the movie Network, the guy's like, I'm angry and I can't stand it anymore. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah. And there's a famous clip about that. You hear enough of this stuff and you just kind of want to scream it. But, it is like Dawson says, sometimes you can't red pill them too much. Can't red pill them too hard. So that's why we use comedy in a lot of ways to put this stuff, to kind of buttress this stuff in there, and that's what we're going to do, on Friday with our show. Yeah. I think we're going to try and be a little bit. We're going to be outrageous, but I think we're going to try and be a little bit lighter about it, because it's very easy to go dark and cynical. And as someone who does comedy, I do. Carlin's one of my biggest influences, and I don't know if you've looked at Bill Hicks at all or any of his stuff. He's great too. He's a big influence. But definitely Carlin for sure. And what was that chat we just had?
Liberty times 4. What's up, gentlemen? We're here the 4th of July weekend. We're winning. Reed, it was great to meet your dad, man. Tom Coverdale. What did he think of the whole thing? What was his takeaway? So Reed and I saw each other at Pork Fest last weekend or 2 weekends ago?
That was only last weekend.
Dude, Reed, I can't even. Did you watch True Detective season 1?
No.
So one of the big lines from it, Matthew McConaughey goes, "Time's a flat circle." Time is a flat circle. I don't even know. A day is like a year now. But Reed and I met up at Pork Fest, all the way up there at Rogers Campground in Lancaster, and I got to meet your dad. Your dad's fucking awesome, Reed. I can see where a lot of your influence comes from, and he's concerned about things. He thinks deeply about things. Being an educator, and what did your dad think about the whole thing? What did he say afterwards?
Well, yeah, he enjoyed it. He's gone much more libertarian in the last couple years, but he's also always had this sort of anti-propaganda, anti-status quo take on things, because he's an English teacher, and he teaches a lot of literature that if you internalize the message of the books, it's mostly like always question what's going on.
Rebel.
1984 and Brave New World.
Stars and Bars.
Yeah.
like Lawson's like Stars and Bars.
I mean, he also taught a philosophy class for a while, and so he's always thought about these types of things. So the idea of being skeptical of your government and looking for red herrings and all the types of stuff we talk about on the Four Horsemen or just on our own shows or whatever. I don't know. None of that stuff is really that foreign to him.
Right.
And he's been anti-war always. I mean, he even when he was a pretty conservative, guy who always voted the pro-life ticket, he was still against the wars. He voted for George Bush, but was protesting the war in Iraq. So I don't know. It's not surprising that I ended up where I am from his influence, even though he's originally a very conservative, very Christian guy. We have a lot of the same core principles that we care about, and it's been good to have him along for the ride. So
yeah, I was so psyched to meet him, and I was so happy to see him there, man. It's special when you can share something with your father, when you guys can see each other, because you're your own man now, you're an adult, and your father can respect you as an individual and a man who's now on his own, making it on his own. But you're there because your dad helped you get there, and you don't forget that. And that was great to see that. And you said to me, my dad is kind of like Robin Williams in Dead Poet Society, which is one of my favorite all-time movies, man. That's it's just a to me, Dead Poet Society, it's a romanticized view of rebellion, of rebelling and
questioning authority,
doing it while you're still within the system and while you're still part of the machine. And to me, that's Ron Paul, that's Tulsi, that's Mike Gravel, that's Cynthia McKinney, that's Rand Paul, it's Thomas Massey, Dennis Kucinich. You're in this behemoth, you're in this system, but you're a fucking rebel, and I like that. So that was cool, man. I was really happy to meet him. That was a lot of fun. We had a nice lunch. We had a couple of beers. We had a burger. We had some nachos.
You got to tell him about Bohemian Grove. He'd never heard of that before.
I was like, Tom, we're going to red pill you on Bohemian Grove.
If you've ever wanted to see Henry Kissinger in a coconut bra, now's your chance. And they're sagging. He's 98. They're sagging. They are sagging. They're down to his knees, folks.
He's almost 100, Reed.
Yeah. He's 99, you were saying, with Ryan?
He's 98, yeah.
I'll get you his birthday right now. I'll get you the birthday.
I'm gonna say he's 98. But the only politician, the only political event I ever brought my father to was to see Ron Paul in the 2012 election cycle. And I've probably mentioned this before, but we have him. My dad sees Ron Paul, meets him. There's a great photo of my dad with Ron Paul, with Eric, and our producer Ricky, one of our best friends. And I said, Dad, what do you think about Ron Paul? What do you think? He goes, he tells the truth. Doesn't have a chance. That's it. I mean, that kind of sums the whole thing up, man.
Even though he, I think he legitimately won Iowa, and they fucked him over on it, and that screwed up his New Hampshire placement. And I don't know. Like if the system weren't rigged, we could have won. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they know, they did the same thing to Bernie in Iowa with Buttigieg, the Clintons and Buttigieg. So it's tails.
I gotta say though, with Bernie, I really think from the beginning he was controlled opposition just by just looking at how everything played out. I don't think he ever really was there.
Well, Reed,
to upset the vote.
Reed, you said something, Reed, on Twitter that I always thought. I don't even know if we ever talked about it, because, but when Mike Gravel died, you're like, Mike Gravel is what Bernie Sanders, wishes he was. Bro, pretended to be.
Yeah.
Because, dude, Mike Gravel was fucking based.
He was, man. He was.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean,
here's to Mike Gravel.
Yeah. Here's to Mike. My friend, my mentor.
Mike on his way to heaven. I don't believe in heaven. Rumsfeld is on his way to hell, fast track, and Mike Gravel's on his way to heaven.
We're not sure where John McAfee's going. That's a little more complicated.
He's in a weird antivirus purgatory. It's still loading. It's loading as we speak.
Yeah. Oh God.
No, McAfee. You ever see any documentaries about him or read anything about his deal?
Yeah, I know a bit about him. regardless of what you think about him, he's definitely an animal. We'll just put it that way. Oh man,
that's a great summation of John McAfee, man. I mean, the dude was a fucking rebel. He marched to the beat of his own drum. He was into what he was into. Is it possible that he killed his neighbor's dog and like had a couple of his neighbors killed? Yeah, that's possible. That's definitely possible.
I know.
But
I know people who are like personally really good friends with him. Like Livy McKay is really good friends with him.
Really?
And so was a guy named Jeremy Todd that I'm friends with, was really influenced by him. So I know people who know him really well. And then I also know Ryan Dawson really well. So, it's sort of like, I don't know him. So I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. There's going to be narratives and there's going to be stuff out there about anybody who's quote unquote controversial or has a large public persona. And, maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. But McAfee certainly did it his way.
Oh, yeah. Dude, if he'd become president, we think of Trump being president as like this wild anomaly on the timeline, but can you imagine President McAfee if that had somehow materialized?
Dude, that would have been off the fucking charts, dude. That would have been off the charts. Yeah, no, we never had him on. We were kind of Eric was talking, I think, to his wife or his girlfriend at some point about having him on, and I think Eric went to an event that Gary Johnson was at that maybe McAfee was supposed to speak at, or in New York City. I don't know. Eric, did that ever happen, Eric? Like,
I was talking to McAfee's wife, Janice, I think her name is, right? Reed, is it Janice?
I don't know, honestly.
About having him on. I was supposed to go to a big libertarian New York State or New York City convention that Gary Johnson and McAfee were going to be at, and I just couldn't end up doing it. But McAfee is he's an interesting cat. I mean, probably he was involved in his neighbor's death. Like, probably Reed. Like,
we were just talking about that. Yeah, we were just. I don't know. Was his neighbor an asshole? I mean, I've had asshole neighbors that
should have been killed.
Well, should have been eaten by alligators. I'm not going to say how the alligators are going to eat them, but
we're NAP though, Reed, right? Aren't we all NAP?
Oh yeah. I mean, but if they violated, continuously, you got to do something. So,
what's NAP?
The non-aggression principle. But if the principle is violated against you, then you got to protect yourself. So I don't know what we're doing on there.
All bets are off. So Reed, when our neighbor shot into our apartment, did he violate NAP?
Yeah.
So what would your response have been, Reed, as as someone who's a responsible and safe gun owner for that?
I don't think you guys are unreasonable. I mean, so it happened at night, right? What was the immediate scenario? What happened like immediately after?
We weren't home
that's right. You weren't home.
Thankfully, we weren't home. But he was waiting outside of our apartment at like 8:30 that night. Not long after it happened. And he's like, "Oh, good. I'm glad you guys are alive." That's like the first thing he said to us.
That's amazing. He was cleaning everything, right? And then,
that's what he says. The police think he was like kind of living a fantasy of that movie Shooter, that Mark Wahlberg movie Shooter, which is a pretty interesting political thriller.
That's I know the movie. That's that
Mark
sounds
Wahlberg.
More likely. It sounds more in line with the events that took place. So.
It sounds like full retard. Do you read?
Yeah.
He was living out some kind of Mark Wahlberg fantasy, and the gun went off, and it ended up embedding about 3 feet from my bed in the wall. And so
I saw the bullet holes. I was there. Did that happen at Thanksgiving or Christmas?
It happened in November. Yeah,
near November. We gave Reed the Hollywood Forever tour, Mike, and showed him
through like the mirror and then through the drywall.
Lee Harvey Oswald couldn't even have written this. Okay, it was unbelievable.
He had a sniper's nest built on top of the toilet, and it was a single bullet, and it was a very, very tippy top bullet.
And that's not something Reed would ever do, Mike. He would never fire into his.
Fuck no.
He's a responsible gun owner.
And most gun owners are responsible gun owners.
They are. And so a lot of other people read this would turn them into cucks on the Second Amendment and be like, grab everybody's guns. We fucking dude, I'm not changing my views on guns. Like we even told them that. We gave him a little bit of the
when we went to talk to him at the end of the week, we spewed like a little bit of the, I don't want to call it libertarian doctrine, but we were just like, yeah, this is fucked up, dude. You need to check yourself. This is about personal responsibility.
Yeah.
That's what this really boils down to. No legislation and no law can change that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I believe of all gun owners, and this is why I respect safe gun owners, and why I think majority of them are, because you never hear from them, is you know how to handle that weapon, you respect the weapon, you understand that is a dangerous fucking tool that can take someone's life in an instant, and you actually appreciate and understand that. This guy did not. He's a fucking clown. He shouldn't have firearms, but he'll probably get them back. He might even have them back by now, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully he lives in a wooded area where there's no neighbors and he can work on his fucking shot. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're illustrating, the part of libertarianism that a lot of people don't talk about. It really is about responsibility, because most people think, when they think libertarian, they just think chaos and anything goes, where the essence of libertarianism is the opposite. It's all about non-aggression, all about peace and responsibility.
Having your own shit in order, Reed.
Yeah. If you violate those principles, then you get fucked over. I mean, that's how it works. So
that's the biggest part for me. Like, why I like a lot of the philosophy is that Eric and I don't want to fuck with anybody on anything. Whether it's your political views, your personal sovereignty, your right to happiness and freedom, and live your life however you want to do it. Everybody can. This is America, man. This is what it's all about. But as soon as you do violate someone else's sovereignty and their freedom and their space, where they're supposed to have safety and autonomy, that's where there's a problem. That's where we're going to run into problems. And I don't think that's unreasonable. But we weren't, over the top about it. But it was pretty fucked up. I mean,
Reed, this is the first time in my almost 35 years on Earth where I called the police.
Mm-hmm.
I called the police. Called them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Should I not have called them? Like, what would you have done?
Well, no, we honestly didn't know what was going on. If it was still a situation where he had a domestic dispute with his girlfriend, which is what I believed,
because they had a history of
not well
fighting with each other, and Mike and I heard them fight with each other, and dude, we were scared. It was fucked up, Reed. It was fucked up. So I don't own guns. I'm never going to own them. I'm not a gun guy. So I called people who had guns to come deal with a guy who had a gun.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Pete about this, who we also met at Pork Fest, which was great.
Pete Quinones, we love you. Dude, Pete's a fucking based fucking goatee lord.
Dude, he's so based. He can't be stopped. Like, he's beyond off the charts based. But he and I were talking about what a lolbert is. Have you guys heard that term before? Lolbert, like
Lolbertarian?
Lolbertarian, yeah.
I think I asked you, Reed, what a lolbertarian was.
What is that? Explain that to our audience, Reed, what that is.
So a lolbertarian is someone who thinks he's already living in Ancapistan, and that he should assess the views operating out of that position. So instead of realizing, we are still in this authoritarian shithole in this massive state, and I have to deal with that. It's, I already live in a complete state of non-aggression, so I'm going to have my opinions laid out in that order.
No.
So, I think that applies to the police. Like, I would like to abolish the police and get rid of them. But, they exist right now. And so why not? If there's a domestic dispute or something, that's what.
Well, Reed, we didn't feel safe with him having guns in our apartment next to us, and that's not unreasonable. Like, I think he kind of forfeited his right to have a gun because he showed that he's not responsible or capable or someone who should have that kind of deadly weapon. He illustrated that, and I was like, dude, forget about me and Eric. You could have fucking killed one of your kids.
Yeah, two young kids.
One of your kids could have been killed.
Yeah, I know.
So if we brought that to the landlord couldn't, because New Hampshire, it's very hard to evict somebody. We've learned. So where's the recourse?
Where's recourse?
Where can we actually do anything?
And also, Reed, I'm not gonna show up there over next door and knock on his door with a gun.
Yeah.
To me, that's escalating a situation that doesn't. Yeah. So what I did, I called the third party. I called the Peterborough Police Department,
which
as
exists.
A third party.
You just said, Reed, it exists. We deal with it. We live in reality.
Yes.
And Mike and I know them. You know, the cop showed up in his big asshole cruiser, taxpayer funded fucking gas guzzling, cunting fucking cruiser, gun on his hip, and he fucking dealt with it. You know,
Yeah.
so.
No,
But he
I
did,
get it.
he did right by us.
This is real world application stuff. Libertarians are all about philosophy and
Yeah,
fucking.
Yeah,
you know,
until you have a bullet shot into your bedroom. That's what I want
Yeah.
to say to these people who are like, this is the Mad Max, which
Yeah,
is
well,
not the reality.
It's the difference between libertarians and libertarians. Libertarians are idiots. You can't talk to them about anything. I mean, they think voting is violence. You know, like, I think voting is self-defense, you know, against, I mean, I don't buy into the lesser of two evils argument.
No.
Sometimes someone's not evil. Someone's just better than the alternative. And,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of libertarians, they think like any state is, you know, all states are created equal. I don't agree with that. You know, I'd rather live here than in North Korea. I mean, if you don't think there's any difference there, then
Or Syria or Yemen or Saudi Arabia
or Somalia or, you know, like whatever. Like, yeah. So the idea that if there's any state, it's as bad as any state that could exist, I don't buy into that. And you got to deal with reality where we are. And, you know, I would, of course, I'd love to live in an all voluntary society, but we're so far removed from that. So to act like we're already there and have opinions on the issues based out of that is ridiculous. So.
Got a comment here. The guy did the opposite of gun safety and should lose his privilege to have any. So,
yeah, that's reasonable.
Right. But who arbitrates his privilege and who arbitrates that?
I disagree that it's a privilege, but I think, yeah, I mean, once you violate other people's rights, you lose your rights. It's
right.
Mike and I, our right of safety was violated.
Yeah, well, if you violate other people's rights, you lose your own rights. That's how it works. Like you can't be a tyrant.
So then the question is, right, what the recourse, should the recourse be the state or should the recourse be the courts? Or because now I know that because I talked to him afterwards, he had to go to court to get his right to have a gun back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's what exists. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, Reed, do you want to get rid of all the courts? Is that part of ANCAP?
Well, I mean, not now, but if we got eventually to a place where you don't have government structured courts, that would be one thing. But we're so far away from reaching that, you know, it's ridiculous to even talk about right now. It's like
I'm not even trying to say it as a got you. I'm not even it's not a got you.
No, but people are
practicality. Practicality.
Yeah, I mean, what I talk about a lot is how you dismantle the state matters. You know, like if you dismantle any part of it, it's not necessarily a win. So, you guys know about the Glass-Steagall Act with the banks?
Yes. Yeah, Glass-Steagall.
Yeah, or Glass-Steagall, however you want to say it. So that compartmentalized the banks, but it also gave them something called the FDIC, which is the federal backing for all, you know, banking transactions and loans. But then when they repealed it, they only repealed half of it. They only repealed the part that compartmentalized the banks, that broke them up, but they kept the insurance. So now you've removed part of the state technically, but you've actually weaponized the banks because you still have the insurance, but now the banks aren't broken up anymore. So some libertarians might look at that as a win because, hey, we got rid of some regulation. It's like, well, yeah, but you made the situation worse. You know,
you consolidated their power.
Yeah, you have to, if you're going to remove that, you have to remove everything. You have to get rid of the FDIC too. You can't have the FDIC with unlimited power to the banks at the same time. You know, that's like giving them free money and giving them complete dominion. So yeah, I mean, it's like a complete open borders, people. You know, like I would like, you know, I'm pretty pro immigration, and I would like to get to a point where we don't really have a government enforced border. But to think that that's the way we go about it on day one, just go tear down the fence and get rid of the border security. I mean, no, like you can't. It's an incremental direction we have to go in. So yeah, I don't know. People are they don't have any realistic view of how we could get from here to where we would like to get. And they also don't realize that we're never going to get there. Like if we ended the wars, you know, that would be a huge win that we probably won't reach already. You know, like
I know.
A smaller budget than we have now would be better, and we probably won't reach that. So
we can't even get that. We can't even get that.
And argue about all these hypotheticals like in a stateless society, it's a waste of time and it's stupid. And
what I've always advocated, because I understand what you're saying about abolish and defund, and there's people on the left who also would agree with you, abolish and defund, and maybe they want to go about it a little differently. What I've been talking about is demilitarize the police. Let's start. Can we start there? This is kind of what I've always been saying personally. In Keene, New Hampshire, we have a thing called a Bearcat, which is this ridiculous piece of machinery that existed in the Middle East during the Iraq War, and we have it in Keene, New Hampshire. And I think, to my recollection, in the last 15 years since it was allocated, they've called it out once or twice, and it was for like natural disasters, flooding, and maybe the Pumpkin Fest, where there was some fucking kids from Connecticut that overturned a car. So it's completely ridiculous. It's completely overkill. It's redundant. So we shouldn't be giving the police in America the overstock weaponry coming back from a war zone. So if we can't even start there, how can you even have a discussion about, abolishing or about defunding or so that I think it has to start there. In my opinion, I mean, I'm not an expert on that, but I think it has to start somewhere where it's like reasonable and realistic.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I talk about the issues at hand more than my philosophy, because my philosophy is just that. It's abstract and it can
kind of utopian.
Yeah. I mean, so it can be used to direct my decisions that I make, but to operate out of that as being a reality already is retarded. I like to draw a distinction between philosophy and dogma. Philosophy is a set of rules that you apply for yourself and for the world, and you try to move the needle in that direction, and you try to adhere to those principles.
Try to live that way.
Where dogma is just like blind stupidity. It's not looking at the big picture.
It's full retard.
It's full retard, just like always trying to operate without violating any single thing that you believe in. So an example would be, if you were a Christian who believes it's wrong to lie, right? Lying is a sin, but you lived in, Poland in the late 1930s and the Nazis came to your house looking for Jews. So if you're an autistic, dogmatic person, maybe you'll tell them the truth and that you're hiding people in your closet. But is that really the right thing to do? Is that really adhering to your philosophy? Is that looking at the big picture, moving the needle in your direction? I would say it's not. So if you have a philosophy, you can say, well, I'm not going to tell them where they are going to lie. I'm going to save these people's lives. If you're dogmatic, you're an idiot and you have no micrometer or anything to measure like what decision, what impact each decision you're going to make is going to have on the overall direction in which you're trying to push society or whatever. So I try to be a philosophical person, not a dogmatic person. And there are a lot of dogmatic libertarians, like Dave Smith's been talking about this a lot with critical race theory. They're talking about banning critical race theory in schools. And I'm fine with that. I don't care. And a lot of libertarians are like, oh, you're a statist then. It's like, well, no, I mean, if I could get rid of the Department of Education, I would. But that's not where we are. We're talking about like we're at a position where we're propagandizing kids or not with the system that's already in place. So I'm going to opt with not propagandizing kids. And then, if we could have President Thomas Massey or President Kamala Harris, even though, eventually I'd like there to be no federal government. I'm sorry, I'm choosing President Thomas Massey over President Kamala Harris. I don't know. That's where I see the difference. Like between, like you said earlier, between Lolberts and libertarians, you've just got to deal with reality. And what is going to make the world a better place? Is it? I don't have anything against agorism, which is just like complete disinvolvement, living out in the woods, off the grid, and not being like a Quaker. Like that's fine. Go do it. I don't judge you.
I won't dig your own well. Yeah, dig your own well.
I won't fuck with you.
At the same time, like. If you think that they're not going to re-involve themselves with you eventually, like, of course, I mean, the state's going to continue to grow. It's going to get worse. It's going to get more authoritarian. So if you go out and live in the woods, like that might be fine for you, but maybe by the time you have your kids, they're going to be coming out in the woods after you. Like, they don't leave you alone. That should be so obvious right now with everything that's happened over the last year. Leaving you alone is not in their, that's not in their agenda. They want to control you. So in my mind, you got to involve yourself with politics, or it's going to involve itself with you eventually, So I'm not backing down. I'm not getting out of it. I'm not just going to go be a hippie out in the woods, as nice as it sounds.
You're not going to be like Luke Skywalker, just giving up on the Jedi. Even though that's kind of appealing to do that, and you kind of beat your head against the wall sometimes, but it's not really in your nature to do that. Yeah, no, I agree. I feel the same way, man. I think we're all part of this, whether we like it or not. Like, whatever you want to define, what this is. Yeah, we're all here. We all pay our taxes. We all have a say. We still have a say, which is good. Knock on wood. And that's something we're
say. Yeah.
well, we have to have the right say. It has to be the right say, and censorship is a big part of that, and making sure that you don't say the wrong thing. I think you're right. You're right, Reed. I mean, we're all part of this fucking deal. I mean, you look at what you do, man, moving heavy machinery and truck driving and equipment, and what you do affects other people. And it's like it's a chain of command, and it's a ecosystem that has ripple effects on so many of the people that are even unseen. Yeah. And that's how it is for all of us. No matter what you do in your life, man, you could do something in the year 2021 that has an impact on somebody 2 decades from now, and you don't even know it. So we're all part of it.
Is people who argue about utopia. They're like an 18-year-old kid who's, or let's say a 20-year-old kid who's gone to college for 2 years for a liberal arts degree, who's like $40,000 in debt, who's arguing with somebody else about what he's going to do when he's a millionaire. It's the same thing. It's like, okay, I mean, what are you going to do tomorrow, though?
What are you going to do in the reality of our situation?
Yeah.
Well, and also when you examine a lot of people who become millionaires or billionaires, how they got there, and the fact that it involved other people's decisions, not theirs, that it was inheritance.
Yeah, well, a lot of them was.
Yeah, God, a ton of them, and they're able to fuck with you and fuck with the political system, and that's where I'm. I like overturning Citizens United. I know a lot of libertarians are like, oh, money is fucking speech, and I'm like, get the fuck. This is where I'm with Mike Gravel. This is maybe where I'm kind of a lefty. I'm a lefty on some things, Reed. I am.
Do you know about that case though? Do you know the specifics of Citizens United? Because it's not what people think it is. It's not allowing corporations to donate to something. That's not what Citizens United was.
Well, isn't it granting them a status? It's granting them a status, though, an individual status. I mean, what?
Do you know the video? I think it actually has to do with Hillary Clinton. That's what Citizens United was about. And that's why she wants to overturn it. I mean, if you notice, like, corporate Democrats also want to overturn Citizens United. It's not a progressive issue. It's a Democrat versus like mainstream Republican thing. And it goes back to, I think the video is called Who is Hillary Clinton or something like that. And it was all about letting that video be aired on national television. I'm trying to remember like what year that was, but I mean, it has to do with a video being shown on national television. That's what the case has to do with. It wasn't like some decision that corporations could donate to certain political campaigns or something. Like, that's what it's been.
Well, isn't it about, though, disclosing where the money comes from for campaigns and moving to a publicly financed form of elections?
I don't think that Citizens United. Yeah, let's see.
Because I mean, the money. Ventura always says there should be NASCAR jackets mandated for politicians. Right. I like that.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's something that's mandated by the state and by laws, But I like that. It's a sunshine thing with who's paying for your campaign, and I'm okay. I'm okay with that, man. I'm okay with a politician having to publicly explain where their money comes from and who gives it to them and why they accepted it. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, our system has been bought and paid for. It really doesn't even. It almost doesn't even really matter what the Supreme Court says or what the laws are.
Right.
But Jesse Ventura's like, you should wear NASCAR jackets. It should right here. It should say Boeing. Right here it should say Halliburton.
Yeah.
I like that. But anyone who has like a brain can figure out who's funding the politicians. But most people don't look into who the donors are.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me about it, Reed. If it's something that I don't know about Citizens United, I want to hear about it.
I'm looking at the file right now. So it started with Hillary the movie, which was a political documentary that
Dinesh D'Souza
put together. Yeah.
Oh, Hillary 2016.
He's a ghoul, Reed. Dinesh D'Souza.
Yeah,
I know. Trust me, I know.
But no, I get what you're saying though. He's like full retard ghoul.
Yeah, that's what sparked the controversy. It was the Hillary the movie video. The movie could not be shown on television because it was, basically what happened is the movie wasn't allowed to air because the Supreme Court decided that it was. I think the Supreme Court decided that it was, it was obviously a political ad that was aimed at getting people to not vote for Hillary Clinton. And then I think in 2010, they overruled that and said, okay, it's unconstitutional for us to decide what type of political advertisement is allowed. And then I think that's been oversimplified and misconstrued as though Citizens United was some sort of case that allowed unlimited political donations, where I don't think that's really the case. And even if you overturn Citizens United, I don't think that things would change that much. Who you should talk to about this is Stacy for Truth. She actually knows a lot about the Citizens United case and a lot about these types of things. But from my understanding of it, it doesn't actually put us into a place where money's out of politics. I mean, money wasn't out of politics before 2010. It's not like in 2010 suddenly we lost free speech. I think it's oversimplified. So,
yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Well, I'll look more into that. Julian Assange is 50 years old today.
Hey, happy birthday, Julian Assange!
Today's his birthday. Henry Kissinger is 98. He's 98.
Julian Assange, who's sitting in Her Majesty's prison in Belmarsh. When Roger Waters talks about the Julian Assange case so eloquently, he has no fucking reason to have to be out there talking about that. I mean, the dude's he probably is worth like $200 or $300 million. Doesn't need to be talking about Julian Assange, but I think the reason it is so important, it's something that certainly our podcast is all about, is he's a publisher. Julian Assange is a publisher. He's not a hacker. He's not a leaker. He published information that was given to him from a direct source, which is the same thing that the Washington Post, the Guardian, the New York Times, all these other publications did. So if he loses his case and his freedom, that's it. I mean, that changes the whole discourse for freedom of press and freedom of speech, to be able to expose, government wrongdoing, abuse of institutions that are funded by taxpayers. And that's chilling. And to me, it's hard to reconcile why more people don't see it that way or don't understand that's actually what's going on with that.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, it's already too late almost. I mean, with everything that he's gone through, even if he eventually ends up being freed somehow, there's already been a precedent set that you'd better not fuck with us because we're going to ruin your life, Do
you think if Pamela Anderson showed the judges her breasts, that they would just be like, yeah, free them, just free them. She'll get the cast of Baywatch dude to all take the fucking red bikini off and I mean, there has to be something, because this is really scary. I mean, this is it. This is the end of freedom of publishing and freedom of speech for real. Like, I think this is the case, and I agree. I know what you're saying, Reed. Like, you think it's too late, and it very well may be too late. But I still think it's something that's worth talking about and fighting for. You know, and
I think it
can bring awareness to. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, dude, you know what's so ironic to me is so many people thought Trump would free Julian Assange.
I know.
He was the president he was arrested under. I was like,
exactly. The stuff that happened to him, all the bad stuff that happened to him was under Trump.
Yeah. I never understood that disconnect.
But he was being spied on the entire time that he was in the Ecuadorian embassy by probably the CIA and by
Adelson was involved in that.
Sheldon Adelson?
Sheldon Adelson put up the money for private intelligence to spy on Julian Assange. We're going to build. We love him though, Reed. He's
the best useless ghoul ever. So.
I don't know Jill Stein, but I know she likes environment.
How bad is it that he was better than Joe Biden? Like, how fucking bad is that? Like,
see, I honestly look at Trump a lot like I look at Bernie. I don't think Trump was controlled opposition from the beginning, but he just got cucked immediately. And the difference between Trump and Bernie supporters is that Trump supporters were not subjugated the way Bernie supporters were. Like, Bernie supporters were pretty much whipped into, like, I mean, almost all of them, you know, there's some who dissented, but most of them just went straight for Joe Biden and straight for Hillary.
Oh, no, a lot of them didn't, though, man. I have close friends that are Trump and Bernie supporters.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but
the majority of them did, though, like, of Bernie supporters. I know a lot of them didn't, but the majority of them did.
Because they hated Trump so much, or they wanted to get him out, or Orange Man bad, or whatever reason.
Where the majority of Trump supporters didn't do the same thing. I mean, they stormed the Capitol building. You know, like, can you imagine?
Dude, that's full retard.
Can you imagine? But I know it's full retard. But can you imagine Bernie supporters actually doing something like that?
No. They wouldn't even storm the local co-op because yogurt prices went up a dime. Don't go to the co-op. Look, let me tell you something, okay? The cows got abused, the nipples were hard, so the prices went up a dime, so don't storm the co-op.
Yeah. You know? I mean, so, like, I've got
I think there was some disenchanted Q people, man, who've been whipped into a frenzy over the course of 3 years. I mean, you're talking about 500 or 600 people. It's not
the people who stormed the Capitol were full retard.
Well, I know. What I'm getting at, though, is most Trump supporters didn't get cocked like Bernie supporters did. Like, they really believed Trump was the guy he said he was, and they still kind of stand for that, you know, like, however demented or misguided that is, they didn't turn into establishment tools for the most part.
So you don't think that a lot of Bernie people and Bernie delegates, even after 2016, when he laid down for Hillary and campaigned for her, you're saying they didn't give up on Bernie, or they still thought he was? So you're saying that the Trump,
obviously there are people I know who got disenchanted with Bernie too. I'm not saying no Bernie supporters did. I'm just saying there's a lot more Trump supporters who hate, like, the current government, hate the establishment, hate the media. Trump, like, red pilled them in a way, even though he wasn't who they thought he was. Like, they really do have these angsts and hatreds and, you know, distrusts of the government, where most of the Bernie people, it was like a phase, and they were just completely co-opted into supporting the establishment 2 times in a row. So
I think that's a fair assessment. And I'll even say that as a New Hampshire guy who's been following the primary since 2000. Bernie won the 2016 primary. He cleaned house in the 2020 primary. A lot of them did go for Biden. I agree with you on that, Reed. I think you're right about that.
Yeah, I mean, like, there are I know a lot of Trump people who are just like, they're not just like, oh, well, Trump lost, you know, I'm Republican 2024. They're like, you know, completely disenchanted with the political system. They don't trust the media at all. They don't trust the election system. Like, so, yeah. I mean, you can
they have some reason not to, because it's been shown to be so corrupt, and they have lied. The media has been lying, and both parties are corrupt. And Trump is like something different than both parties. I mean, I know he kind of hijacked and took over the Republican Party, but in a lot of ways, he was just like a wrecking ball that came in out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I can't imagine Bernie supporters actually doing anything about what happened to Bernie. Like, none of them really did. They just
except
got
tweeting
mad about it on Twitter, and that was about it.
Yeah, they did a couple of socks and mittens.
I mean, like, see, when January 6th happened, so many people were horrified. I wasn't. Like, I just thought it was dumb because I was.
You were kind of here for it, though.
Oh yeah, I was there for it. Like,
I mean, it was definitely nice to see some members of Congress like sweat a little bit because you motherfuckers appropriate murder on a mass scale that is unparalleled.
I think they set up a guillotine in the courtyard, which
Pence.
Dude,
for Pence.
That's kind of base.
I mean, the thing is, laws already exist to deal with the criminals that committed the trespassing and the damage and the rioting and the looting. The laws already exist to deal with them, and they're dealing with them. And not only does the FBI have the technology to recognize their facial components and structure, there's fucking narcs. There's drop a dime. There's people who are more than happy to be like, oh, I work with that guy. I work with him. Arrest him immediately. Like, dude, and they use the Capitol event to beef the thing up even more than it's ever been.
Oh yeah.
So, look, I don't condone it. I wouldn't have done it. I think it's stupid. I wouldn't have been there.
Retard.
It's whatever fucking verbiage you want to use. It's dumb. It shouldn't have happened. They didn't do it, but I understand why a lot of those people were just. It's like the boiling water, man, the boiling frog. It's just so much, and then eventually it just fucking blows up, and that's what you end up with. So you can see
they're trying to get this domestic terror.
Exactly.
How about the cucks who say this was worse than 9/11?
Oh, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. You should get a 9/11 commission style investigation because that means you're not going to get down to the bottom of it, you fucking assholes.
Yeah, no, it's
like, well, that was bipartisan. Like George Carlin says, when you hear bipartisan, it means you're getting doubly screwed. Yeah. You're getting screwed doubly.
You're getting fucked double.
Yeah. No, I mean, that whole thing, to me, it was just dumb. And then I didn't care about it. Like, I thought it was kind of funny and kind of dumb. That was my opinion. And then you're right. It got turned. I mean, AOC is still talking about it today. How
she still has BTS.
Does her abuela have BTS from it?
Reed, you know about the AOC abuela? You know about
the fundraiser for the abuela?
No. What is that, Mike?
So her grandmother supposedly didn't get. I think she lives in Puerto Rico, or there's a family member that lives in Puerto Rico that didn't get the funds from Trump. They're like, oh, Trump didn't send the funds, when in reality he did send the funds. The funds were sent after the disaster. The abuela got it, and they're like, oh, we can't fundraise anymore. So I don't pay attention to that culture war shit. Honestly, I don't look at that. I don't care if the president's Republican or Democrat. Who do they bomb, and why do they bomb them? That's what I look at, and that's what I've always talked about. And shills from both parties don't ever want to talk about that when it's their side that's doing it. And that's what I've always done. That's why no party will have me. I don't want to be a part of any party because that's what I'm always going to do. So
this is an interesting comment, guys. Former Bernie supporters that aren't anti-evil imperialism do not get publicity or talked about on Pentagon News. It's called being a Tulsi supporter.
Yeah. Hey, Eric, Stacy's actually in the chat. Maybe she can enlighten us on Citizens United. So, Stacy, I was talking about how Citizens United has a lot to do with Hillary, the movie.
She said it was the abuela. That's what Stacy said.
Oh, Stacy. I like Stacy's photo.
Stacy, if you weren't my daughter, we'd probably be dating.
If you weren't my daughter, Stacy, we'd definitely be dating. Sorry, what were you saying? AOC
I forget. Oh yeah,
AOC's a fucking celebrity. Like, look, I wasn't a bartender, but I've worked in hospitality. I fucking scrub shit off of toilets. Like that, it's like people have shit jobs. That makes you qualified to be like a leader of a movement and multi-million dollars in fundraising. And dude, how fucking tell the, and the thing about the squad, that sometimes they do tell the truth, and you got to give them credit when they do.
I stuck up for the squad when they were based about what happened in Gaza recently, and they spoke the truth. But I said thank you. They all did. They put out a united front. I said thanks for speaking the truth. Back it up with some fucking legislation. Nothing.
Nope.
Nothing. Cut off all money to Israel.
Yeah, dude.
Cut off the funding. Cut off the funding.
The only one of them who didn't vote to fund Israel in the stimulus bill was Rashida Tlaib.
Yeah, Tlaib from Michigan.
She gets so much hate for that.
Our Aloha Queen voted no on that too, Reed.
Well, yeah, I know, but she's not in the squad. Like of the squad, it was only Rashida Tlaib.
No, our Queen is problematic for the squad.
Yeah, no, fuck the squad.
She's too base for the squad.
Yeah, but when they're right and they get it right, we should talk about that. Absolutely.
And I did, and it made MAGA chuds and neocons and every other retard. It made their heads explode. Oh my God, Eric said something nice about the squad. I was like, yeah, they're being honest about Israel.
Yeah.
When this Gaza shit blew up. Watch Abby Martin's fucking documentary, Gaza Fights for Freedom. If you watch that and you still don't get it, you're beyond saving.
Yeah.
There's no telling you what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great documentary. I didn't know much about any of the Israel stuff till 2016. It was Dawson who's kind of started red pilling me on some of it, and then Carrie Wedler, and then later on it was Abby Martin, and yeah, I don't know, like it's it's fucked up, and I started really diving into it last year. And then, now we talk about it all the time. And I mean, it's got so much more influence on how our foreign policy is guided and why we do things we do than people think. Like, it's so interconnected. I don't know. It's really disturbing. So.
Yeah, it is very disturbing. And there's still, veterans and soldiers that were around during the USS Liberty, our ship that was attacked. They're still fighting for the truth and for answers to come out. And this was in, 1967 or 1968?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, 1967.
Yeah.
54 years ago. So, yeah, there's influences out there that don't. And look, we're coming up on 20 years of 9/11. I'm going to be doing several 9/11 episodes for Jackman Radio, just like I did last year. I want to do even more this year because there's a lot of really good information out there about that, and there's a lot of bad information. And we've certainly had those discussions with Ryan about that, and some robust debate and exchange of ideas. But I think the American people are still hungry for that, and the fact that there's still lawsuits going on right now with Saudi Arabia related to 9/11. That's not on the mainstream news every night. So why is that? Why doesn't Sean Hannity? Why is Sean Hannity not outraged about that? Why isn't he talking about that? A guy like Sean Hannity, he's America first. Yeah. So I don't know, man.
Israel first, Saudi Arabia second, America third. That's what Israel first tends to mean. I mean, that's what America first tends to mean. So
yeah, and that's true under Democrat and Republican presidents too. By the way,
so many people were, a few weeks ago when Israel started bombing the shit out of Gaza or whatever, and Joe Biden said, we stand firmly with Israel and their right to defend themselves or whatever. Like, all these liberals were just freaking out at him. They're like, I voted for you. I fundraised for you. I told my friends to vote for you. I can't believe you turn your back on us like this. It's like, Joe Biden.
You're surprised by that? Dude, how about Andrew Yang crashed and burned in New York City?
That was beautiful.
Dude, I honestly, a year ago, I was like, yeah, it's Yang. It's going to be Yang. It's like, no. His hot take,
Yeah,
I don't know that it was just that, but there was a number of things, man. Like,
dude, he's terrible. Like, I know you guys had him on his show or whatever, and
yeah. No, I know.
He was actually the only other one in 2020 that I was like, okay, I'll look at this guy. Tulsi was, she was definitely the best. And then I wasn't interested in any of the other ones except Yang was just interesting. Like I was like, okay, this guy is not a reptile. He's a human being. I'll listen to him. I was wrong. He's a reptile. He's like as reptile as it gets.
He's serving some kind of agenda. Yeah, I'm not so big on him anymore either, Reed. I'll tell you that too, man. I'm not like I enjoyed my time with him. Like I thought he was honest, and I will say that after talking to him and during our interview, I was like, he doesn't fucking know anything about foreign policy. Either he doesn't know, he doesn't care, he's not thought about it. It's not part of his deal. Whatever.
Yeah,
he was identifying stuff about our country and what's going on. That was, hitting close to home for a lot of people who are living paycheck to paycheck or who are struggling, who lost their jobs, in the unfairness of a lot of the system. And I get that. But, yeah, there was a lot of it was like, it just wasn't really – it was almost like it's like a bro. He's like the first bro to run for president. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, Eric, you got a comment from Stacy, talking about Citizens United. So and then there's a
Hillary the movie, the documentary that was at issue. All right, well, I'm going to do some homework on that because I didn't.
Yeah, there's a longer one. She kind of is like a paragraph.
It's been censored. But SCOTUS denies Hillary's request for an injunction. They said it's a free speech and that it could be provided to the public for free of charge via pay-per-view.
Yeah, so
So how is it censored and why? All right.
Yeah, I mean, when you see Hillary Clinton wanting to overturn Citizens United, you can bet it's not all for a pure cause.
It's not good.
Yeah. So
I've been fighting the Clintons. I mean, look, Tulsi sued crooked. We had our stuff with her, but like, there's video read, and I'm gonna try and get it out. No one really knows about this video, but like, I asked her about going to the Bilderberg group meeting, and she laughed in my face. And then my friend yelled at her, and he almost got arrested. This was in like 2007, 2008. I'm going to try to get the video out there. So I know about battling the Clintons, and anything the Clintons are doing, rest assured it's not good.
Yeah. No,
fuck that bitch. Fuck them. The Clintons are a cartel. They're a murdering drug cocaine. Look at what Bill Clinton did as governor of Arkansas. Cocaine smuggling, murdering, child trafficking, fucking assholes. That's what the Clintons are.
Yeah, dude.
We're not afraid to be base reading, just kind of like be real about it.
Cucked neocon, like I just hated Hillary because she was a radical leftist extremist or whatever. And then I started like wondering, like, why do I actually hate Hillary? And so initially I was thinking, oh, maybe there is nothing to hate about her. Maybe it's just conservative propaganda. But then you find out like, oh no, there is a lot of stuff. It's just not what the conservatives tell you is about it.
Oh yeah. Oh, when you find out the truth. Reed, when's the next Four Horsemen?
July 11th. So that's what a week from tomorrow. The trailer will be dropping probably tonight. I'm working on it right now.
But that's even sooner than the last one.
Yeah, the last one was late. It was the 26th or something.
There was build-up. Dude,
well, Scott Horton's so fucking base.
And before we get into that, the thing about the Clintons too, and I think what you were just saying, Reed or Eric, like, oh, you're criticizing the Clintons, you must be right wing. It's like, no.
Yeah, you don't have to be.
No. And they try to debunk the Clinton body count. I would talk to the mother of the boys who were killed on the tracks in Arkansas. Arkansas. I would read the self-published book by them, by the wrestler who came out a couple years ago who said that he in fact was there when the kids were killed, and the coroner said, oh, they smoked 20 marijuana cigarettes and they fell asleep on the tracks and then the train ran them over. Come on, like. We're supposed to like. Is anybody who has a brain supposed to believe that?
Yeah.
So I would just look into that and the fucking hatchet job they did with that Tom Cruise Barry Seal fucking movie.
And then, like, even if you're not into the personal scandals, just her policies that she's pushed, or if you're like imperialism and you're against.
Dawson's like she made slavery great again in Libya.
Yeah.
We came, we saw, he died.
No, Hillary Clinton is a cunting, psychotic, sadistic neocon, warmongering asshole.
Yep.
She might even be worse than Bill. She might.
Like when he was like, when Trump was like, Hillary says it takes a village, and she should know she's taken many in Haiti. Dude, I fucking love that. I love him.
Yeah, he was punching up. He was punching up in that one.
When he did that read though, like you remember that, right?
Oh yeah. No, he see, here's the funny thing. Like they elevated him because they thought he was the only one she could beat, and then he still beat her.
Yeah. She was like promoting him. They wanted him to be the nominee.
Which
Absolutely.
I do think that everyone else would have beaten her too, except for maybe like Chris Christie. I'm not so sure about him, but I think Jeb Bush would have beaten her. I think Marco Rubio would have beaten
John
her.
Kasich.
Boy, that's not saying much. That's not saying much.
No, I mean, but everybody hates her. Nobody likes her. Like even, I mean, there are a few cucked liberals who like her, but most liberals don't even like her. I mean, she's just like, even if you don't know anything about her and you don't hate any of her personal baggage or her policies, like you just don't like her. I mean, she's just like,
she's gross.
Yeah. So, I mean,
she's an opportunist fucking twat.
Dude, it's amazing that he beat her though. That's the funniest thing ever. Like the first woman nominee for president.
Like it was her. Reed. It was supposed to be her.
I thought she was going to win. I
did too. I mean, you know, Obama fucked up her first run, which was hilarious. Like this charismatic 40-year-old black guy comes out of nowhere. And that made sense though. It's like,
and Trump is right. Like, Trump is right. Her guy was the one who pushed the birther shit.
Yeah,
Trump's right about that, and that's all bullshit. Look, Obama was born in Hawaii. That was settled. Okay, that's bullshit.
Hawaii is a province in Kenya, by the way. Which you guys didn't know. So.
Oh yeah, but I agree. The racist thing is part of that. Like totally. Like it's bullshit. It was settled, whatever. But it was Hillary's people who were fucking pushing that and leaking that. So the king got his hands on it, and he's gross. I mean, he's he's like unabashed racist. His racism is like that uncle. He's like the Archie Bunker uncle on the easy chair that's just kind of like throwing it out there, like, you know.
Yeah, but Eric and I
you can't wait to hear his racist jokes. You can't.
Like I'm not saying it, but some people are saying it. Like he never recanted his thing about the Central Park Five, who were completely innocent, completely exonerated by DNA, eyewitness testimony, XYZ. Like he wanted the death penalty for them. They were innocent. That's atrocious. That's atrocious from not just a racist thing, but from so many levels. From a libertarians should be incensed by that, and I think they are. Rightfully so. And that's the thing about the 4 years Trump was in there. The stuff that people were outraged about, it's like, it's obvious. What about the stuff that everyone should be outraged about? They didn't talk about that. Yeah. They called him presidential when he dropped the bombs. When he dropped the Moab, he was called presidential by left-wing media. So they can all fuck off. You know what I mean, in my opinion?
Yeah. Yeah, what I was going to say is, and Eric just left, but we've talked about it before, how there's a fine line where Trump is racist or retarded. You know, it overlaps. So, like, you can't tell. You know how with, like, the I know she likes environment thing, like, he just forgets to put the word the in. Like, there's no, I know she likes the environment. So after, I forget if he was talking to the Chinese or the Japanese, but he's like, I was talking to them and they said, we want deal. We want deal. So you don't know if he's like being retarded and just forgetting how to talk, or if he's being racist. You know, it's like, it's kind of a fine line. So
right, he may or may not be intentionally racist, but the dude was born in 1946. So here's what I say to any American out there who has a relative who was born in 1946, and we all do. I got relatives that are still alive that were born in the 40s, and they say things that are fucking cringe.
Mm-hmm.
They say things that are cringe. Do you just like fight them at the family reunion? Do you or does it bounce off you? Like, if we're speaking truthfully about it, we've all heard it. Doesn't mean we agree with it, but the one or twice a year, like, you see them, like, are you starting a family argument, or are you like, oh yeah, that's my racist uncle? And it doesn't excuse it, doesn't make it right, but that does exist in America. Mm-hmm. And I think that's Trump's deal. I mean, his father. You look at the history of his father. I mean, it's the same kind of thing, man. And he taught his son on his lap, all that. So,
yeah. So Eric was, we want deal. Was that racist or Down syndrome? Which one was it?
He's impersonating an Asian culture, right, Reed?
That was Down syndrome boomer generation retard. Like it was. I don't think it was like hateful. I just think it was like we're able to look at them read and we're like, wow, like if it's your whoever it is, if it's your uncle, if it's an older boomer, who you have some reverence for or you respect,
and they're cringe. They're cringe.
You're like, dude, this guy's fucking retarded.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's largely what it is with Trump.
It's mostly retardation, isn't it? I mean, so we can feel sorry for him a little bit, even though he's such an ass clown. It's just
like, I mean, the Muslim ban was pretty gross.
That was cool.
That was
cool.
That was disgusting. I mean, like, I'm not religious, and I believe me, like, I think the Christians, the Muslims, the Catholics are all just as retarded as
they're all retarded.
They're all retarded. They're all fucking. I think they're all wrong. Like, where's the atheist point of view? I don't even like to call myself an atheist. I just don't.
Some atheists are retarded too. They're
yes.
Yeah.
You have evangelical atheists, which I also don't like.
Richard Dawkins is an evangelical atheist. That guy is cringe.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He is.
He's an old boomer British fucking cunt.
So, but my point is, like, I think it's all a fairy tale. So I look at it and I laugh. So I look at all their this, all their that, and that's all. That could be a whole other podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I know you guys were talking earlier about your father, Reed, is a very serious Christian. And
He's been forced through some evolution just because of me. My
Really?
older sister's gay. My brothers are atheists. My younger sister's just at most just gets involved. So,
dude, Tom's base children have moved the needle in the right direction.
I love that, man. And you know, even if he still believes it, man, that's his right to believe that.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
And I think the libertarian model would be on that is like everybody has a right to believe whatever they want to believe, but I also have a right not to believe in your bullshit. Just because someone's Christian or someone's a Muslim or someone's a Catholic, I don't have to adhere to that. I don't have to sit there and fucking accept that as like the law of the land. And I don't. I don't fight people about it. I don't spend any time or energy fighting people about that.
I mean, I don't care about the "in God we trust" on the money or one nation under God or all the holidays we have. I just don't care. It's like I don't care. But if I make a post on Twitter about why I don't believe in God or why I think it's ridiculous, I have dozens of Christians piling up on me about how I'm persecuting them and I'm trying to take their rights away. It's like, I mean, I don't even go, if some Christian on Twitter makes a post about God, I don't even touch it. I never comment, but I make my own thing and
they fuck with you.
Dude, I'm either belittling it or saying why I think it's ridiculous. And I get dozens of comments, and they're so angry at me. And it's like, dude, fuck off!
Where's our tax exemption, Reed?
Where's my tax exemption? Yeah,
dude, I would join the atheist church if I got attacked. I'd become an atheist pastor if I could live on that land and not have to pay any taxes.
It's the same thing as the libertarian church. It's so decentralized.
I know.
You're going to have members that are going to dissent, and you're not going to have a consensus. So it ain't ever going to happen. So the way I view it, great, whatever your fucking religious views are, to me, it's like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite fucking movie? what genre of film do you like? That's how I view religion, and you can call that whatever it is. Believe me, man. I've put in more effort to keep my religious friends than they have to keep their atheist friends. That's all I'm going to say. And they called me a fucking heathen. They said, Mike, you're going to get into drugs. You're going to go down the wrong path. You're going to become this fucking monster. And none of that ever happened. And there might even be some political views that we agree with. But because your fucking religion it makes you're so fucking scrambled, we can't even have a conversation about that. Well, that's your problem. It's not my problem.
Think about the difference in caliber of what we're saying. We're saying we think you're delusional. And they're saying you're going to burn in hell for eternity and you're just a degenerate scumbag. Which one is worse to say? I'm sorry, but why wouldn't I be offended by that? I mean, I don't even get offended by it.
I don't get offended, dude. You know how many, the fat jokes? I've heard every fat joke.
Yeah.
I've heard every fat joke.
Reed, I think it's impossible to offend you and Mike and I.
I know, it's pretty hard.
No, you know what offends me? Donald Rumsfeld. So thank God he's dead.
But he's dead, so fuck him.
But Reed, the meme that whatever cock or whatever asshole made of you and Shane and
Clint.
Clint.
Yeah, you celebrated it though, Reed.
I happen to think it was cute.
Yeah, that's cute.
The one of Reed was like kind of cute. I was like here for
That's
it.
a 20-something, yeah.
Yeah.
A 25-year-old Truckerdale or whatever. Like, I just owned it. And then, unfortunately, that's what sucks is that there was something about it. You know, there was that the domestic abuse case or whatever that happened with Kevin Hobby a couple months ago, and that was mentioned in one of the memes. So
I don't know about
it got all blown up, and I had to take it down because people were getting angry about it. But yeah, I mean, that wasn't the intent of it. I was like, here's this idiot making a meme about me. Like, I live in his head, and so do Clint, and so
Reed,
Reed,
you guys, he thinks about whoever he or she or it or they or them or fucking poop thinks about you so much.
Yeah.
That took time. That like whoever made that meme of all you guys, that fucking there was some time.
I love it. Yeah.
Put into it. Jackman Brothers hotness. Yeah, we are.
Oh, Stacy. Stacy's mom has got it going on.
If you weren't my daughter, we'd probably be dating Stacy. Okay,
we love you, Stacy. The Fountains of Wayne's got nothing on the Jackman's love for you, believe me. But no, if you put yourself out there, you're going to be made fun of, and I've accepted it.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm a fucking comedian. Like, bring it on. I've heard everything. Oh, you look like
about that meme. Like, I mean, if it was made about you or whatever, like, I was honored. I was like, holy shit, someone cares about me this much and hates me this much.
When I saw it, Mike, I happened to think the one of Reed was cute.
It was cute. Yeah, no,
I happen to think it was cute because I love Reed. I like
the Shane one with the red eyes, just like it has on Twitter. You know, like I thought that was
Stolen Valor. Didn't he? He was actually in the military.
Well, no, remember it was Austin Skidmark, the guy.
Oh, fuck him.
Fuck
him, dude. He's lower than scum. That guy doesn't even equate into anything.
Yeah, Shane. Remember Shane took him to the woodshed on the Stolen Valor thing. That's what that
as he should have.
Oh yeah,
as he should have. Fuck you. Whoever made that meme. Fuck you. Fuck you. You suck. You have nothing.
Start your own podcast.
Our name is out there. We go to shit in real life. We're out there in public. Yeah. You are a fucking cunting asshole. Hide behind fucking. Ooh, I'm on Twitter. I'll make fun of people. Fuck you. You have nothing. We have everything. Fucking Mises caucus.
Yeah.
Reed, right. I'm not going to join it. I'm not going to join the Libertarian Party. I'm not going to join the Mises caucus. But dude, I support the Mises caucus. I'm here for it. Dude, Dave Smith for president. I'm just going to say it right now. We love Amash. Amash is great, but I think Dave Smith has fucking more balls, is way more based, and I think can message better, can reach more people. And I like somebody who wants to take the Ron Paul fucking message and bring it back and revive it, and let's go. Let's fucking go, dude. I'm ready to do it. So all you libertarians who are watching, who are going to watch this, clip it, whatever you're going to do, Dave Smith's not afraid. Reed and myself, we're not afraid. Let's fucking do it. Let's go.
That's right.
Let's go, Reed. What do you think?
Dude, Dave Smith 2024. I want Amash to run too. I want them to run against each other. I want to see like a competitive, civil.
Get it out.
Yeah.
Let's have these debates.
Yeah, I want to see it. Like, I would love national attention, Amash versus Smith, and then whoever let the best man win. I think it's Dave. Right. If it ends up being Amash, whatever. But Dave 2024, man. Like, we can get on all those platforms, get on Joe Rogan, get on Tim Pool, probably Jimmy Dore, people like that on the left. Like, this is what I'm telling people. Like, if you what I realized is if you're kind of like a moderate, like Gary Johnson type libertarian, the left doesn't care about you more. They're interested in you if you actually stand for something, even if they disagree with you. So if you are a principled, hardcore libertarian who's like, we're going to end these wars, we're going to end the Patriot Act, we're going to close down.
We want to legalize drugs.
Yes,
we want to, dude.
We want to end prohibition.
Hey, my name's Eric Jackman. I want to legalize drugs.
Yeah.
And I stand behind that, Reed.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they care about. If you're impressive and if you stand for something that they can agree with you on, that's when they'll come over and say, all right, you know what? Fuck it. Dave Smith 2024. Like, they don't care about the virtue signaling or the, I mean, like, let
me put a rainbow flag on my dick. I'm going to put a rainbow flag on my asshole, for 30 days, for a month,
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Dave is a smart guy. He's sharp. And you know what? He fucking cares about our country.
He's eloquent too.
Yeah.
And he's eloquent. And you know what, Reed? Like comedians, we fucking think we think deeply about shit. And I know Dave does. Dave thinks very deeply about shit. And Justin, hey, and you've said this, Reed. If Amash is a libertarian nominee, I'll fucking send him $500. I'll support him. I'll support him.
Right.
But right now, I'm telling you, I think Dave Smith should be the libertarian nominee for president.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, dude, he went on the 4 Horsemen with us. Like, how much more based does it get than that? Like, I mean, and he, I don't know, he just, like, he gets it. You know, he's a zeitgeist where Amash just isn't. I like Amash, but he's not a zeitgeist. He doesn't have his finger on the pulse. You know,
he's safe.
Yeah.
He's got Dave Smith doesn't have advisors to don't do that, don't say that, don't message this. Right. Dude, Ron Paul said end the Fed, end the fucking Fed, end the wars, get rid of the IRS, legalize drugs, get the government off our back, out of our bedrooms, and out of our fucking lives.
Amen, brother.
Dave Smith is not fucking afraid to say that.
No. And I'm with Ron Paul and Rick Perry. He's like, how many departments? Ron Paul's like 6. 6.
Rick Perry could only remember what 1.5 of them.
Yeah,
like, we get rid of the education, the commerce, and what's the third? And then they're like, do you really not know all of them? And he's like, oh no, I do. Education. And then someone's like, your second one was commerce. He's like, oh yeah, the commerce. And like,
and he wanted to be. What was he? What department was he head of that he went to under Trump?
Energy. And that's the third one he wanted to get rid of.
You know what, dude? I'll just quote Alex Jones. Rick Perry's a whore. Rick Perry's a whore. Dude, I'll just quote Alex Jones on that one, dude. I'll just quote him and agree with him on that one.
Dude, remember when with Rick Santorum when they were like, Ron, why do you call him a fake? And he's just sitting right next to him. He's like, because he's a fake.
Dude, how much do we love Ron Paul, though?
Oh, dude, he's so good.
I fucking love Ron Paul, dude.
Ron Paul's going to see it in his lifetime. He's going to see it come back. He's going to see the movement come back. He's going to see what he ran on and when he got attacked by the media and by the mainstream parties. And he was right about it. He's been proven right. He's been validated. His fucking views haven't changed. He's been the same. I mean, you go back when he ran the 88 for the Libertarian nomination. He was saying a lot of the same shit. So,
dude, when he was on whatever that show was,
Morton Downey Jr. Dude, Ron Paul's so fucking based.
You say no. Take responsibility for your own life. Oh man, that's so good.
I know.
Dude,
they want to be told what to do. They want government overreach. It's funny because Emmerich was big on Ron Paul, dude. I think
I know.
Dude, he endorsed him like
what he sent him $1,000 supposedly. Like I have no reason to doubt that. I mean,
yeah,
he was big on him, and I think those ideas. I think the time is right for a lot of those ideas to come back because those are not only are the ideas worth revisiting, they're ideas that never changed or never should have went away. Like that, a lot of it got lost in this Obama, Trump. Like it's just all bullshit. Like they continued the same policies, like the same big idea policies. They did the same fucking thing.
Yeah,
they did the same thing.
Even domestically, I mean, obviously, foreign policy wise, they were pretty much the same. But what people don't get is if you want to control your opposition domestically, that's never a winning strategy because then once the other guy wins, the tables get turned and it turns on you. Where Ron Paul was like, I just want to leave everybody alone. Like
I don't know how to run people's life. I don't want to know how to run people's life. I'm not going to tell you what to do. That is exactly it's.
Dude, what was his quote there? It was like, I don't know how to. I don't want to run your life. I don't know how to run your life. The Constitution doesn't give me authority how to run your life.
Exactly.
And then it was like, I don't want to run the world. I don't know how to run the world. The Constitution doesn't give me the authority to run the world. That's based. Like that's
exactly. We shouldn't be policing the world. We're not the world's police. This is why things are going to fail. If we think that we're going to be the world's police, we're going to just fucking tax and spend ourselves into oblivion. And back when he was running, I think the debt was like 18 or 20 trillion, maybe less. Might have been less than
lower. It was like 12 or 13 trillion.
What is it now? 28, 29, 30 trillion?
Yeah, it's almost 30.
Yeah. So there's no wonder that a 29, 30, 35, even a 40-year-old can't buy a house in today's economy.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't it, like, whether it's the fucking funds that are buying up the properties or the fucking, Blackstone or whatever it is.
BlackRock, yeah.
I'm sorry, BlackRock.
Yeah.
I was confused with the other.
Mossad, Blackstone.
But if you go A to Z on what Ron Paul was saying, virtually every issue, he was right.
Dude,
he's right.
I mean, I don't know.
And I just say, don't blame me. I voted for Ron Paul. Don't blame me. They're like, oh my God, you guys think Trump's funny. That's the end of the. It's like, dude, I was telling you to vote for Ron Paul in 2006. So suck my nuts. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me.
Dude, BlackRock is funded by the Federal Reserve. Like, people don't realize that. They're buying up all this property.
I'm sure they are. Yeah. Dude, they use pension funds and.
Reed, what did you see at PorcFest? Dave Smith was well received.
Oh, dude, and you saw walking around, that was not a crew of like alt-right conservative MAGA chuds. Like, there were fucking Satanists, there were nudists, there was like everybody you can imagine. Like,
you know what it was, Reed? There were human beings who valued liberty.
Dude, it was from right to left, the entire spectrum. People who just wanted to leave each other alone.
You know what I love about Dave? He's a comedian. Comedians have their we have our hand on the pulse, our finger on the pulse.
Yeah,
and we're honest and we'll tell the truth. And America's ready for it, man. We are ready for somebody who is not afraid to speak fucking truths that need to be said and say things that need to be said and remind people that, yeah, we had somebody called Ron Paul who was running, and we have not forgotten about Ron Paul, and we're going to carry that flag forward, and we're going to remind you why his ideas are fucking bulletproof.
Yes. Dude, can you imagine
ideas are bulletproof, Reed?
Can you imagine how cucked Rand is going to feel if Dave Smith brings Ron Paul's movement back to life?
You know what? Dave Smith doesn't care about golfing with Donald Trump.
No. Yeah.
And that's why he's more effective. He's like, he doesn't need to golf with Donald Trump. Yeah, you can golf with him and fucking say X, Y. You know,
I read Murray Rothbard. Murray Rothbard.
Like David said, like I've said, Reed, the king had fucking goldfish attention. It didn't matter. Ron Paul did not give a fuck who was like trying to influence him or dude, he's been right on about the whole thing the whole time.
Yeah.
And Mike and I just had lunch today with somebody who worked on Ron Paul, who ran Ron Paul's campaign here in New Hampshire in 2012. And Rand Paul did not want him to be part of it. So, Rand Paul's a failure.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand it. He doesn't get it.
No.
Dave understands that. I want him to fucking pick up that mantle and carry that flag for libertarianism and for freedom of ideas, of thought, railing against the fucking war state, railing against the Pentagon, screaming about fucking legalizing drugs and not ruining people's lives for their personal decisions, what they want to put in their body, and freedom of speech. Dave's our guy. So, libertarians, if you're watching and listening right now, Dave Smith's the guy. If he does it, if he wants to run, so let's do it. I feel that. That's how I feel.
I evolved on that. Like, at first, when I heard Dave's going to run for president, I was like, okay. And then I actually got to know him, and I got to see how him coming on my show, talking to me, affected all of my friends. I saw how many people were like, whoa, this guy gets it. Like, I want to hear more from this guy. And I completely agree. Like, that guy gets it. He's got the pulse of America. And he, I don't know, like he could really shake things up. And I don't think anyone else can right now.
Wait, that means you guys aren't going to vote for Joe Biden? You're not going to vote for Biden,
or DeSantis?
You're not gonna vote for Joe Biden,
dude. Like DeSantis, like
FDR.
I mean, I know DeSantis was based on the lockdowns, but
DeSantis has more in common with FDR because they were both in wheelchairs. Okay,
and he he locked down Florida before he came out against the lockdown.
Initially, yeah, he did initially.
He did initially lock it down in March or April of 2020 or whatever.
He's going to get your culture warriors though, Reed. DeSantis is going to get your culture warriors. He is.
Yeah, I know. That's what it is. Like, it comes down to the people who like, oh, we're going to own the libs, and that's all we care about. Like, those are the people he's going to get. Like, anyone who actually pays attention to what was done.
How about when the Republicans are in charge and you fucking throw shit on their collar? They don't like that either. Just like the libs don't.
Dude, Trump was president while we got locked down in our houses, and fucking like I know they're working on a bigger stimulus bill right now, but as of right now, Trump signed more stimulus money into law to go to fucking corporations.
$1 trillion. Yeah.
Than Joe Biden has so far. I'm sure Biden's going to surpass him. But I'm just saying, like, all these people who are like, we need a Trump 2.0 to protect us from these nutso liberals. It's like, where the fuck was he when he was president in 2020? You know, they were putting ads out of like current news footage saying, this is Biden's America. It's like, no, Trump, you are still president right now. Like, this is still your America. So, like, all these fucking culture warrior conservatards, like, go fuck yourselves. I mean, you guys don't stand for anything. You didn't do anything. You know, I mean, look at those fucking stimulus bills. How many of you voted? Like, we had Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, and a few other Republicans, and then Tulsi Gabbard and Justin Amash. They're the ones who stood up.
And one of the squad voted against.
Rashida Tlaib, yeah. But
we lobbied Tulsi Reed that night.
Yeah, we did,
and she voted against it. No, but like, look, this is where I love Dave Smith. Like, dude, Ukraine, the leader of Ukraine is a comedian, Zelensky, and
he became president.
We had the last 4 years Donald Trump, who would like wanted to be a comedian, but he wasn't really a comedian.
But he was funnier than most comedians.
No, he was. Dave makes that point. But Dave is a comedian, but he's brilliant. He's sharp. He pays attention. He understands what's going on, and that's like where it resonates with me, what he's saying and his message, and how to do it and how to actually run a campaign and fucking go to all 50 states.
Yeah, and
do the thing. So, you know, I think the time is now. I think this is when it should happen. That's how I'm feeling. Justin Amash is great. He's got a great voting record. You know, some people will like him who have Trump derangement syndrome because he voted for impeachment. But you and I, Reed and Mike, will look at what his vote for impeachment for different reasons and for what he's done for different reasons. But if it's Amash, hey, I'll support Amash.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. I got to get going here in a few minutes, so we'll have to wrap.
Yeah, you got your own live stream.
Yeah.
Well, Reed, it was fun. It was fun to bring you on. I mean, it was just
thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it's the 4th of July, and what should the 4th of July mean to libertarians?
Well, this is going to be a little controversial maybe to some people, but Ryan Dawson has convinced me that secession is probably the best thing we can do, and we've convinced ourselves that having one nation is really important, that we're all under the same government. I think that's propaganda. I don't think we have to be. I think we could peaceably dissolve the union. And I think that's something that actually kind of needs to happen. Because, even though I'll be all in on Dave Smith and everything, I don't think we're going to win the presidency. I think we're past the point of being able to coexist as one government. I think we really, honestly, I'd like to see us become 50 individual states, or at least see the federal government become so nullified and small that it's irrelevant. And that's what we did on July 4th, 1776. We realized, we don't need to be one government with the British Empire. We want to be our own thing, and we can still have our culture that we want. We can still get along. I think people should start thinking that way. It's been so propagandized that America, USA, we need to stay together and, we're united, whatever. Like, we can be united without a giant federal bloated government being an overlord over us. We can still all travel to all the states. We can still all get along. But we, whether it's secession or nullification or whatever it is, we need to take some serious action against this federal government. And to me, that's what July 4th is all about, is, sticking the middle finger to the centralized control that's taxing the shit out of you to create an empire that you never asked for. So that's what I'll say July 4th should be to libertarians right there. So
that's awesome, Reed. So I know I'm with you, man. I'm with you on all. Tell people where they can find you, how to support you, what they can do.
Yeah, so I'm Reed Coverdale on Twitter, and then on YouTube, I'm the Naturalist Capitalist, and have lots of interesting guests on. We do the Four Horsemen every month. Both Mike and Eric have been on that. The Four Horsemen this month is going to be July 11th, so a week from tomorrow. But subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter. And talk to if you're a libertarian or if you're someone who cares about justice and freedom and decentralization and whatever, like just, get the conversation out there, because that's where it all starts. Like, just talk to your family and friends. And, we're also kind of trained that we're not supposed to talk about all the things that we talked about here. Like, we're not supposed to talk about sex, politics, or religion.
I
think we hit all three of those. So
let's give them something to talk about, okay?
Jackman Radio. No, Reed, you're awesome, man. Mike and I love you, man. You're you're inspiring, dude. You're based.
You're very inspiring.
You're doing it.
Well, I'm glad I met you guys, because honestly, on the Tulsi campaign, the first few days, I was meeting a bunch of cucked, pro-union people who hated right wingers, and I was like, I don't know about this so much. She seems cool, but then I met you guys, and I met Vince, and I met a few other people, and I was like, okay. I'm in the right spot. But the fact that we met each other and we've stayed friends and we've stayed in contact, and, we're good friends with Ryan Dawson and Dave Smith and Pete Quinones. I mean, it's just mind blowing. It's so amazing. And I'm so privileged, and I'm so glad to have you guys on for the ride. I mean, it's amazing. So
freedom loves company.
Freedom loves company, Reed. And we're doing what we can. And fuck the Federal Reserve. Fuck the Fed.
Yeah.
Fuck the war machine. Fuck these motherfuckers.
It's all impossible without the Fed. It all goes back to the Fed. The wars, BlackRock, fucking
all of it,
bailouts, whatever it is. It's all the Fed.
The war on drugs.
Yeah.
And Ron Paul's seminal books, End the Fed by Ron Paul. Read that, whoever you are, wherever you are.
On July 4th weekend. And Ron Paul, who's a veteran, by the way. So you like to masturbate about war and veterans? Ron Paul's a veteran. Masturbate about that.
And he was also for secession, so remember that too.
Was he? Oh, geez, I don't know. I didn't.
Dude, Ron Paul's his own level of base. But Reed, thanks for coming on, man. And the next Four Horsemen is going to be great. Everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the Naturalist Capitalist on YouTube and Jackman Radio, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Happy 4th of July.
Cheers.